Monty's got some sweet jack stands under there.
This time on BleepinJeep, I buy back my old Comanche that I built 10 years ago. I pick up a wrecked Cherokee. We chase some turkeys out of my yard. We find a rat's nest. We straighten some unibody frame. We install a headliner. I install door supports. We make our own rock sliders and install them, all for the Project Rat's Nest Cherokee. Hey YouTube fam, most of you think that I'm just a, samurai guy. But reality is, I've been a Cherokee guy way longer. I'm a pretty big Cherokee nut. Check this out. So this is an old poster ad that I kept from 2003. That's a Cherokee I built that I used to compete in. I've been a Jeep fan my whole life, and I actually started four-wheeling with Jeep Cherokees. So funny thing is not only did I build that Cherokee to compete in, but I built a lot of Cherokees and Comanches over the years, growing up especially, because pre-YouTube, people didn't know that you needed to, when your vehicle didn't start, that you could just change that crank position sensor in that 4-liter. Or sometimes it was the lower radiator hose when it was overheating. And a lot of little things like that. There were just real simple fixes where I could buy them cheap, fix them, and then flip them. And that's actually how I paid for my off-roading habit. But this story is about my Comanche. I built a Comanche about 10 years ago, put quite a bit of money into it. I built my axles and I built the transfer case and everything else for it, and took it to the Rubicon, took it to Moab. I think still to this day, I'm the only true Comanche that's coil front, leaf spring in the rear to drive the exit of Eldorado. And I apologize for some of these old pictures and videos because they're pretty old, but I think I was the only person. I still think I'm the only person to ever do that. I ended up selling that Comanche to step into the buggy realm, and then I had the opportunity to buy the Comanche back. So why wouldn't I? And when I bought the Comanche back, it didn't run, but it came with a two-door Cherokee that was a one-owner Cherokee that had been wrecked, and it actually started right up for me. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to show you guys. Let's get into it. America. Yeah. So here's the hopefully salvageable Cherokee. Monty's got some sweet jack stands under there. I guess they're safer than the Harbor Freight ones, but I think it's just smashed up here. I think the control arms took most of the brunt of the hit. So hopefully doing a long arm kit and everything, I'll still be okay. Look at this cool thing. 2-door diesel JK. Clean motor. A little mouse nest in the corner here. So believe it or not, we put a battery to it. This thing started right up. Idling like a champ. But my low washer fluid's really mad at me. I got the hood up because I got battery cables jumping it. The battery was so big it wouldn't fit. Here it is. Monty's been harboring it for a few years. That's all bent out. I think it's been flopped a little bit. This was new. That's crushed up. Fuel cells leaking everywhere. Shock towers bowed up. PRP seats survived though. All the skid plates are pretty well beat. Everything looks like it's leaking. A few more smashies. Another tube crush. Got hit good there. At least he had fun with it. So we got the Jeeps loaded up. The Cherokee fired right off with our little battery contraption. Started right up. Pretty stoked on that because I know it's sat for probably at least a year and a half. Obviously the Comanche isn't running. When I got the Cherokee running, we drove down the hill and I started smelling wood burning. The
rats had made a nest. We blew that all out, sucked it all out. Kind of thinking about calling this thing Rat's Nest. We got a sweet Cherokee to swap a lot of things over. When I built this bumper, I did this intentionally. I plated everything on the body and cut the inside out so I could have the winch hidden in there, so my approach angle was as short as it can be on a Jeep, with trying to still keep that, you know, Comanche Cherokee front look. All right, time to find out how bad this thing's jacked up. Pushed back pretty good. Hopefully this is still straight, and it's just the bottom end that's shoved up. Even the axle tube looks straight. Just the control arm looks like it got hit. Obviously the bumper, the little expansion tank there is still hiding back there, but maybe we can salvage what we can. We'll find out. The naked eye, it doesn't look too bad actually. Hail Mary. So I thought it was just kinked there, but it was kinked so bad here that it actually kind of folded it. So I beat this back up, got a strap on it to hold it down, and then put the Hail Mary tug on it. Well, I've been testing the distance between the steering box and the other side of the frame rail with the steering box stiffener, or steering box brace, whatever you want to call it. And I checked it to that Jeep that's never been hit, and it's a little tight here. It's still hitting right on the side of the steering box. So I got the porta power on it, pushing against there, and then I'm gonna hook back up like I have here, and I'm gonna tug that way with the Samurai. Well, it pulled hard enough that the porta power came undone. Still got a tiny little divot right there. When I was pulling this way, I actually tore through the unibody with this, which is crazy, but trying to pull it out, but it worked. It just took that with it, which I'm going to plate anyway, so I'm not overly concerned with that. Just kind of crazy to me that that can pull through that. Think it'll start? It says full. Don't buy this garbage. This thing broke on me the very first day, and then after about a month it stopped holding charge real well, but I've been charging it for 3 days. See if it'll actually work, but we'll find out. Moment of truth. Oh yeah, come on baby. Yeah, it started. They hit their heads hard. Ew. The interior on this thing is cherry. Oh yeah, and that's got to go away, but I don't want that for four-wheeling anyway. I'd rather die like a man. This is a two-door Cherokee that just shut perfectly in line. That doesn't happen. I got the headliner out because I had to straighten the body up. So if you don't know what this is right here, this is the headliner of that Cherokee. I actually got some material for it. I really like it. I'm kind of a flannel junkie, but this is the original headliner. I'm going to pull that off and then put this on. But I messed up, and I want to show you this in case you ever do it. I bought 5 yards of this, but I thought that this was like a 50-something inch wide, because I think you need about 52 inches wide of material, and it wasn't. It was only 40-something. So I actually had to have it stitched. Let me show you. Have it stitched up, so I'll run it down the middle. So I have this cool split seam headliner. We'll see how that holds up. I've never done it like that before. I've always just done it with the pieces, but I think that'll go good. The color of that Jeep's green. My garage is a friggin' mess, and yeah, I think that'll go good. There was a puncture hole in the headliner, so all I did was keep my hand on it here and then ran some duct tape across. I think that'll be more than enough to hold it. All I want to do is just keep it nice and flat when I spray the glue on. I scored all this stuff at Hobby Lobby. Check this out. Deal of the day. Deal of the day. With all the headliners I've done, the easiest way I've found is to acquire some help. So I set the headliner about where I wanted it to lay, had the help of my wife and son as they held it up, and then I went in and sprayed underneath, spraying the middle, going out towards the edges, and then you start working it out from the middle out. Once you start getting it set, then catch the edges, go in and spray the edges, and then you can fold those over, cut them to trim, and then you can go ahead and get the inner pieces, cut them out, fold them over, spray them, and then get it all set up. And you look good after that. Okay, so this stuff's sticky. Every time I stop spraying, my finger gets stuck to the darn thing. Ugh. How you like that speaker box? Boom, 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 boom. Alright, here's the door supports. I'm going to weld them on. I got it marked out so I can clean up the metal. These come from Hooligan Off-Road. And if you have a door that shuts as good as this one, boom, perfect. I don't ever want that to change. And usually a lot of times you end up welding on these supports. But Hooligan Off-Road makes this. It actually sets in there and you weld that on. Then you never have to think about it again. Why are you running, turkeys? Why are you running? I'm gonna do this whole thing again. Take 14 teen. So you wanna know why I run Optima batteries? Check this out. I dated that 10 of 2009. And it still works. Like it still holds charge. So that's impressive, and I use it to get it around. I keep it in my garage now, but I just run it between vehicles when I need to keep them charged. In this case, I got it mounted in here to use for the Cherokee while it sits. We're gonna take these rockers. We already got the door guards welded on there, and the door supports. And even though these rockers are like, I mean, in just great shape, there's a tiny little bit of bubble rust right there. That's it. These rockers are in amazing shape, but I'm going to cut them out. I got a couple little dents there, but we're going to cut them out and weld in a 2x6 box. So if you haven't seen that done before, then you haven't been following BleepinJeep. This is a pretty common deal. Check out my headliner. What? Held on by that. Come on. Ta-da. So, Cherokee owners, how often has this happened? Broke. Fortunately, I still had the piece and the rubber hose. I'm gonna show you how to fix it real quick. Mix up a little JB weld. Get a nail, and you just put that JB weld on here. Okay, more than enough. Oof. More than enough JB weld on there now. And what I try to do is just make sure I get it right on the end without getting it through the hole. So you don't want to plug that hole up. Set it in its home. And then I try to just run a little bit more JB weld on the end here. I'll get a little more up there. But with this piece,
with this piece turned and the nail holding it, now you know it's going to be straight. And now all we got to do is just add a little more JB weld on the end there, and we're good to go. Well, if you want to see more build videos like this, check these out.